Hopefully. All right. We are live. We're live. Welcome to the Third Eye Chakra Chat, everyone. How are you? I am coming to you from Tampa, Florida. We've been moving so much the past 8 weeks of this chat that I'm forgetting where I am. So I asked in the comments on a scale of 1 to 5, on a scale of 1 to 5, where's your energy at? Remember, the chakra system is an energetic system. So 1 being depleted and 5 being vibrant. Where's your energy at right now? And tell me in the comments. I would say I'm just getting over the flu, like a mild flu. Hey, Mindy. Hi, Christy. Hey, Amy. And I'm getting over the flu, a lot of travel, spending a lot of time with family. I haven't cooked for myself in a week, which is very unlike me. We've been getting a lot of takeout. So I would say my energy is like a 2 or a 1.5. So yeah, I'm just going to type that into the comments. My energy is a 1.5 or 2. And if you're just joining the live chat, I'm asking you, where is your energy at on a level of 1 to 5, 1 being depleted and 5 being vibrant? Where are you at? I know a lot of us are under the weather. We're we're pulled very thin right now with all of the festivities going on, the holidays. Mindy's had a 4. Go girl. You just also overcame being ill for a while. So over here, I'm struggling a little bit. You can probably hear some congestion, but it's okay. We're here and I'm on the other side of the flu mountain. So I'm definitely getting some energy back. And I think the key will be once we get settled in our next location, starting to cook for myself again. Food is so healing, right? So today we're talking about the third eye chakra. We are in our second to last conversation regarding the chakra system. So the third eye chakra, the Sanskrit name is ajna. And it's the space right here between your brows. So you could take your hand or your pointer and your middle finger and just kind of rub this area, the space between the brows. And I'm just going to dive right into the basics. Okay, so stick with me. You can still share in the comments if you're just tuning in. Where are you tuning in from? And tell me on a level of 1 to 5. Where are you at with your energy right now? 1 being you're feeling really depleted, 5 being vibrant. Where are you at along that spectrum? And as you guys answer in the comments, I'll rattle off the basics of the third eye chakra. So the element is light, which makes a lot of sense because we see through our eyes and everything around us is some form or makeup of light that's filtering in through our eyes. And then we're assigning meaning to everything that filters in, right? And we're going to get to that in a moment. So the element is light. The color is indigo. And I kind of think of that as a blend between. The activity is seeing. Also makes sense. So the more you study the chakra system, the more you realize it makes a lot of sense. It's very indicative of life. And yes, it's a system. And yes, it can feel esoteric. And yes, it can feel a little hard to connect with in the beginning. But the more you learn about it, the more it really just aligns with our human nature and all of the day-to-day things that we experience and feel and see, right? So the activity is seeing. The relationship to self is self-reflection, which also is going to make a lot of sense as I explain more about this energetic center. Okay, so I'll circle back to self-reflection. The demon here is illusion, right? So when we're not seeing something clearly, we're in this elusive situation, right? We're not accessing clarity. The experience isn't coming through clearly. So we're subscribing to some form of illusion when we're experiencing blocks or misalignments here at the third eye chakra, ajna. So the demon or the wound is illusion. The right is, this is your right to see. Again, this is your right to see. Now, the purpose is vision, intuition, and imagination. So again, 3 key pieces here. Vision, right? We want to be able to see. intuition, which we all know what that is, and we're going to get into that more, and imagination. And then the goals are developing inner vision, so the ability to look within and answer really important questions without looking without, right? It's important to gather opinions from others as well as wisdom, but it's also just as or more important to go within and answer our own questions, especially when it comes to bigger life decisions. Where am I at on my notes? Stick with me, guys. The other goal is to tap into our wisdom. So, right, as we develop inner vision, we can tap into our own wisdom, develop intuition, and trust that intuition, right? Like, trust that gut feeling. And then permission to dream and use our imagination, which is a big one because a lot of us are cut off from that permission slip. We don't even write ourselves that permission slip. Now, I haven't really talked about deficiency or excess, but I want to include it in this conversation today. So, the deficient qualities of the third eye chakra are unimaginative, closed minded, inability to dream, and afraid to imagine. The excess qualities of this chakra are difficulty concentrating, spaciness, living in your head, allowing yourself to dream, but then never creating those dreams. And then balanced would be having a lot of clarity, like living in a very clear state, seeing with kind of like that x-ray vision, gazing into the future, a strong intuition regarding your decisions, the ability to dream and imagine without fear or restriction, and then actually moving forward with those dreams. So I hope that makes sense so far. Again, the more we learn about the chakra system, the more it really becomes apparent that they are mirrors for what is happening in our daily life. And I want to remind all of us that the chakras don't create the energy, right? The energy is just a natural phenomena that's happening as through and with you being a human. It is a byproduct of you being a human being, right? You experience all of this different energy on a daily basis. The chakra system is like a filtration system. So it is an organizing system of that energy that you're meeting all day long. And again, to recap, the chakras have 4 distinct functions. So they receive the energy, right? Then they assimilate it or they digest it, then they store it, and then they express it back out. And it's when the energy can't move through all 4 of those pieces of the process that we start to experience blocks and obstacles and restrictions and tension in this subtle body, in this energy body. And that's where we get into deficiency and excess and a mixture of excess and deficiency. So for those of you that just heard me list off the deficiency and the excess or balanced, right? We also can be balanced. Is there one that you resonate more with here? And I'll quickly read that back off to you again in the comments. If you could tell me, okay, so really quick, deficiency in the third eye chakra. Unimaginative, closed-minded, inability to dream, afraid to imagine. That would be deficiency. Excess, difficulty concentrating, spaciness, living in your head, dreaming a lot, but never actually creating those dreams. Balanced, you feel a sense of clarity, strong intuition, you're able to dream, you imagine without fear or restriction, and you actually create those dreams. So where are you guys at on that spectrum? Deficiency, balanced, or excess? Let's see here. Joe, happy holidays to you too. Yeah. Let's see. Ken said, I'm pretty daydreamy, but going after it. Awesome. Olivia, excess. Chelsea, I'm living in excess. Carrie, balanced, but excess for sure. Gina, deficiency or efficiency. Elvin, excess. Christy, excess. Struggling to put plans on paper, trapped in ideas, but not putting them into practice. Yeah, I would say the majority of people I rub up against we are in excess, but then there are quite a few people who feel like they aren't allowed to imagine or dream. Like this is it. This is the life situation I've been handed. I'm not allowed to, daydream about how life could look or feel outside of this scenario. So why even bother, right? And so they stay very close-minded and cynical, and they keep themselves in this box that's been created. Like, this is it. There's no changing me, right? So that would be very deficient. And then also, I think we are a culture of excess. Many of us have difficulty concentrating and focusing on one idea and finishing the idea. I mean, even in my day to day, right? It's like, I need to do this task, but then all of a sudden, squirrel, and I'm like over there doing another task. So that would be a sixth chakra thing where we're trying to focus our awareness and our attention onto a specific task to complete it, right? So I think it's hard for a lot of us. Let's see. Amy, shockingly, you're pretty balanced. Yes, own that. Thank you. Right? I find a lot of times too, if we always feel like we have to be excess or deficient, and it's hard for us to claim our brilliance or our balanced state when working with the chakra system. So if you're balanced here, amazing, right? Like, it's great to be balanced in some areas and own that. Mindy, you're feeling balanced at the moment, maybe a tad deficient sometimes. Let's see. Giuseppe, deficiency. Kelly, excess. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Great. Kelly, can you provide Yes, I will provide exercises as we get along in this live conversation on how to be balanced or more open. And let's dive straight into the pillars, okay? And I apologize if my nose is stuffy. Stick with me. I'm doing the best I can with you as I am on the other side of my flu mountain. Okay, so the first pillar is inner vision. And the Sanskrit word for the third eye chakra is ajna. When we translate the word ajna, it means to perceive or to command. So that's the translation that Anodea Judith gives in her book, Chakra Yoga. Now, the perceive part is a passive part. So you can think of passive things that we're perceiving through vision are like when we go to bed and we dream, or just all of the images that are coming through our system, through our eyes. Remember, our eyes are how we see. So light is filtering in. And all day long, we're seeing all these different images, we're taking in messages, right? And we have this amazing ability to have a million things in front of us. And yet our brain has been coded to be able to focus on what's most important, like when we're driving a car, yeah? So the perceive part is very passive and it's happening to us, right? This is the part that we want to focus on, though, the command part. So ajna, again, the Sanskrit term, means to perceive and to command. So the command part is active, and it's something that we can actively pursue and shape and create. So it's the more important part of that translation. So consciousness, right, here in the crown chakra, which we're going to get to, consciousness assigns meaning to life based on the images we see. So throughout our lives, all these different images keep filtering in, right? And we see repeated images through our lives, and consciousness assigns meaning to these images, right? The brain is like, okay, I see a dog. I had dogs my whole life. I like dogs, right? So, what filters through our eyeballs, we have an ability to kind of reshape uh, what consciousness is doing, but it takes an active effort, right? So, for example, let's say we are repeating a scenario with one of our family members over the holidays, and consciousness has assigned a meaning to the scenario, and it has deemed it as negative or bad or confronting. But we want to actively change that. We want to change that meaning and reassign it. So knowing that we're going into the holidays and we're going into interactions with family members or close friends, knowing that we might rub up against something that's confronting and it doesn't feel good, we can go into the situation saying, and I'm almost coaching myself right now, right? I'm in my sister's home. We're about to have a family gathering. It's the first night of Hanukkah. I'll then be with my husband's large family for Christmas. So I'm coaching all of us, right? But knowing that we're going to have these expected scenarios that consciousness has already assigned meaning to, we can say, this is the new outcome I want to have. This is the new meaning I want to assign to this situation. And so we can actively command the situation through visualization, right? Before you go into the scenario, you can take a moment and go within and be like, okay, this is how I would prefer this scenario to unfold. This is how I want to behave. This is how I want to react, right? And we can kind of set ourselves up and shape the whole entire situation like a movie, right? Playing here on our forehead, but inside, and see it all unfold and decide to assign a new meaning to that scenario. So then we walk into the situation, we walk into the environment, we walk into the scenario, and we are more prepared to face it with loving kindness, right? Ahimsa, the very, very, very first yama, which if you don't know the yamas, they're this moral ethical code that is the foundation of the entire 8 limbs of yoga. And the very first one is ahimsa, which means nonviolence towards others and towards ourselves, or loving kindness towards everyone, which is one of the hardest things to do, which is why it's the very, very first one, right? So ahimsa, loving kindness in these scenarios with our family members. How can we do that and extend that and stand in ahimsa when we're really, 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 really conflicted, right? Like everyone's pushing all our buttons. So we can actively shape our reality through the third eye chakra, knowing that consciousness is moldable, it's changeable. The brain is moldable, right? It's been proven in science that the neural pathways can be laid down, new ones can be laid down, which is why meditation is such an effective practice, and visualization. We lay down new neural pathways and connections through these practices so that we can go into the real life, the real world, and have a different experience. So inner vision is the first pillar of ajna, the third eye chakra, where we want to focus on commanding our reality. So I wrote here, if we can use our vision to actively create and shape the images we see, what would happen, right? What if you actively visualized a different outcome or a different scenario than what usually happens with your partner, with your family, with your coworker, with how you behave, right? For instance, for me, like I am constantly brushing up against limiting beliefs of just poor habit formation regarding a daily exercise regimen, right? Like I teach exercise as my job, and I struggle with a consistent exercise regimen. And so I could start to sit down in the morning, or even better in bed, right? Like plant the seed before I fall asleep and visualize myself waking up and like going through all the steps that would lead to me doing my morning workout routine, right? Like I can really see all that happening. So I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, let's do this. The seed is planted. Let's do the thing that matters most. So we can start to do that with every scenario in our lives, right? Every scenario. Okay, wait, sorry. I think my connection is unstable. I'm back. I'm back. Tell me in the comments if you guys can still see me, because it just said like bad connection. So let me know if you can still see me. Let's see. Carrie said, I love the thought of visioning a different outcome. I just struggle with not attaching myself to the outcome if it doesn't play out the way I want. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Ken. I'm glad you can still see me. Okay. Carrie, yeah, struggling with the outcome we want is absolutely something that's really hard. And for my yogis on here, remember the niyamas, well, you guys are all yogis, but for those of us who know the yamas and the niyamas, think about Ishvara Pranidhana, which is surrendering to God or a higher power. So it's doing our best and then surrendering the rest. And that's such a hard thing to cope with, right? Like, of course, we want a specific outcome. We have a goal in mind. We have an expectation. Like, let's say we go into a conversation with a family member. We've been visualizing this really beautiful outcome on the other side. And then it doesn't unfold as planned, right? Like we didn't we spent all this time preparing, and we did the work by actively reshaping, how we want our consciousness to perceive a situation, and then we get slammed with a different scenario, and that's just life. And then that would be us. Then how do we forgive ourselves and not go into like a shame spiral or a blame spiral or a guilt spiral? And that's using our yoga practice right there off the mat to not fall into that trap, because we all know that's really real too. So this is all about envisioning how we want our life to look and feel, who we want to be. And this is such a time to be doing that. We're entering into a new year. We're entering into a new decade. And I know the new year can have so much hype around it and kind of like a lot of surface and superficial hype. But there's a reason why there's hype. There's this like magical energy in the air that we can expand upon. And so this is a great time to be sitting down and closing your eyes and visualizing. This is a big one. Like, what does the next 10 years look like for me? What is that? And we don't have to have some like 10-year plan, although that would be great. But like, what can I see in the future for 10 years? And just allowing yourself to go with that visualization and allowing yourself to tap into the dreamy, lucid quality of the imagination, and letting yourself kind of go wild, like what comes up for you. And so this is a really, really great tool, right? Also, when we work with the manifestation current of the chakra system, which is going the opposite way through these conversations, we've been going from root to crown. This time, when we go manifestation current, we go crown to root. You use the third eye chakra to actively visualize your dream happening as much as you can. Daily is the recommendation. You could do multiple times a day, but you close your eyes and you focus on creating that dream, and you see that dream happening all the way through till it gets to the earth plane. So, okay, let's see here. Amy, yes, I love what you said here. Chelsea, it's so scary to look 10 years ahead. Gosh, but like, what if you turn that scenario around? Remember, the ajna chakra is about commanding your reality. So if you commanded your reality, Chelsea, then you can make it it could be less scary, right? Because you're actively shaping it. Instead of just like letting life happen to you, you're making life happen for you through that visualization technique, right? Okay, so let's keep moving, right? So that first pillar was inner vision, and it's the active component of the translation of ajna, and it's commanding our reality through visualization, through using our inner vision, right? Like, this isn't our outer vision. We're seeing through these eyeballs all day long, but it's here, right? We're going inside and we're using inner vision to command what we want to see and what we want to create. Okay. The second pillar is instinct and intuition. So as we develop our inner vision, as we go inside, it leads to us creating this foundation of wisdom, instinct, and intuition. So we begin to look within to discern what we need versus looking out and asking everyone else for their opinion or relying on what society expects of us, right? So, like, the big one here is, I think about Myers and I, and when we set off to go on our sailing trip, and for about 2 years, we were polling everyone, like, what do you think? Well, what do you think? And what do you think? And what do you think we got as an answer? Even our closest friends didn't think it was a good idea. I mean, really, we didn't get any support except for very, very few people that thought it was a good idea for Myers, especially to leave his successful engineering career. Everyone was like, no, mm-mm, mm-mm-mm. So eventually, what did we have to do? We got quiet. We stopped asking everyone what they thought. We kept it to ourselves. We kept saving money. We kept focusing on, what do we need to create this dream? How do we learn how to live on the water? Watching tons of YouTube videos, boat shopping. We just kept really quiet about it and under the radar until we had all the money saved. And then we started boat shopping, and it was like, thank you everyone for your opinion. We appreciate your concern. We got to follow our intuition on this one, right? So the more you start to focus on what it is you want to create and what your dream is, and also actively pursuing the things aligned with your dream. So Myers and I would watch YouTube videos on sailing. We would go to marinas and look at boats. We would go to restaurants that overlooked marinas and stared at sailboats. You know, we kept focusing on saving money, and we would sailboat shop every evening together. So really just continuing to see those images to kind of train our consciousness, like, no, this is the dream. We're moving forward. It doesn't matter if everyone thinks it's a bad idea. So when we go against the grain, we're going to absolutely brush up against resistance, like really, really uncomfortable resistance. And that's where we, if we continue to practice visualization and putting the images we want to see in front of us, in front of consciousness, we develop intuition and wisdom and instinct. And then we trust ourselves and we're like, no, this is the decision I'm going to make. Okay. Even if it's going to hurt some people in the process. So, you know, answer me this. Is there something going on in your life right now that if you were able to look within and answer the question, like, would you be doing something differently? Is there an answer? Is there a question that you could answer more easily if you trusted your own intuition and instinct and wisdom, right? So that's a really big one that, you know, we really flex that muscle when we decided to go sailing. Yeah. So let's see here. Okay. Yes, I truly believe that the only one who knows your dreams is best for you. So you got to forget and trust yourself. Absolutely. Yes. Chelsea said, not living based on someone else's plans feels like freedom. It's absolutely freedom. Oh my God, it is so freeing. And yeah, then you have to live with the consequences. That's the hard part. You can't blame anyone else. You can't blame society because you didn't subscribe to a plan, right? So that's where the risk comes in. And that's where it's like, it feels dangerous and uncomfortable. But that's also why the greatest freedom lives on the other side of those instinctive, intuitive decisions. And like, can you guys tell me in the comments, is there a decision you've made in your past that felt really scary and you followed your gut and you did it anyway, and then you reaped the benefits of it on the other side, right? Like, what scenarios were those for you? What situations happened in your life where you experienced the beauty of making an intuitive decision? Okay, Queen Bee, you were so famously late. Hello, beautiful. So glad you made it. Carrie, you proved to yourself this year you were able to trust your intuition. You went to Bali. Yeah, you came to Bali and you rocked it. Exactly. Okay, so that's the third pillar. All right, or the second pillar. The third pillar is imagination and dreaming. So we all do this all day long, right? Like, we all imagine and daydream. And I just think about, yeah, everyone all day long, right? A lot of us are in our heads. We use imagination and daydreaming to escape the present moment. And a lot of us do this through our phones. But even if we're not on our phones or a device, a lot of us are in our heads and we're thinking about the past, some scenario that could have gone differently, or we're future tripping and thinking about something that hasn't happened yet. So we use imagine and daydreaming all day long, kind of as an escape method. But when we're working with the sixth chakra, again, we want to look at that active component, commanding our imagination and not daydreaming for no reason. We want to dream and imagine with purpose, right? Not just escaping into the past or tripping into the future. So the way to be active with this component is saying, how do I want my life to look and feel? What do I want the next 10 years to look like? What do I want the next year to look like, right? What do I want today to look like? And then tapping into visualization, inner vision, and saying, okay, I'm going to visualize that happening. I'm going to give myself permission to dream and imagine actively. I'm going to command that experience, right? I'm going to own it. I'm going to become the director of it. So that's what we're getting into here with imagination and daydreaming. We're moving away from passivity, from just being like loosey-goosey with it and wasting hours in that space. And we're moving towards commanding and acting and directing and owning. Okay. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I think it's pretty, I think all of us get that because we do it quite regularly. So we want to really work on the active component here with all three of these pillars. Yeah? Okay, let's see. I want to check in with you guys. Susanna said, yes, when I went back to college and got your master's degrees, you practiced tapping into it, your intuition. Awesome. Mindy, opening up your own studio. Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are the three really big pillars here, guys. So the first one, remember, it is inner vision. So commanding your reality and allowing yourself through visualization to reassign meaning through consciousness. So really priming your mind, priming your awareness, priming that whole process to see a situation differently, commanding what it is you see. Instinct and intuition, developing inner wisdom, right? Through practicing and honing visualization, it will come more naturally. And lastly, imagination and daydreaming, right? Once we start to tap into visualization, and then once we develop wisdom and instinct and intuition, we've then got some confidence to daydream and imagine without fear or restriction, right? Like, who am I to daydream this life? We get rid of that question and that fear, and we move into that active commanding component of, no, I do have a right to dream for my life. I do have a right to imagine, and I'm going to command this experience, right? Because this is my one life. I should. Why shouldn't I? Who else is in charge here? You are. I am. We are. So those are the three pillars. I want to know, which one do you need to work on the most? Which one do you need to work on the most? So inner vision, reassigning meaning through consciousness, through the images you see, right? Intuition, instinct, and wisdom. Is it hard for you to trust your gut and make your own decisions for your life? And then imagination and daydreaming, actively though, actively. So those are the three pillars. Inner vision, being able to go within and see a new scenario, a new situation internally, and then change the external experience, inner vision. The second one, again, instinct and intuition and wisdom, developing that and trusting your gut to make important decisions. And then lastly, imagination and daydreaming, but that being an active experience where you command it. So of the three, which one feels like you want to work on it the most? Let's see here. Absolutely intuition. All three for sure. With all three, but inner vision seems like a good place to start. Inner vision is definitely a great place to start. Christy, the active part of daydreaming. Definitely. That goes along with what you just said. Kelly, pillar number 2. Megan, inner vision and imagination and daydreaming. Amy, probably inner vision. Yeah. Okay. Instinct and intuition, inner vision. Yeah. Kelly said I have to do a better job with trusting my little voice. Yes, yes. Giving that little voice the microphone, right? The person inside, the you inside that knows what to do. Awesome. And honestly, I find with the third eye chakra that the three pillars are so connected compared to all the other ones. They're very, very, very woven into one another. And it is this domino or crescendo effect of, as you develop one, the next one naturally unfolds and unfolds and unfolds, because it's all about this active component, commanding it. Yeah, commanding it through your eyeballs. So let's get into suggested practices. So the first practice is gazing into the future. And this would be right in tandem with that pillar of inner vision and visualization. So a great thing to do, you can do this before bed or when you wake up or both, is visualize your day. So you could do this before bed, right? Or in the morning. Visualize the whole day unfolding as you would like it to. So what are the things that you want to do? What matters most? Closing your eyes, and you could really do this in like a matter of minutes, seeing your day unfold exactly how you want it to, doing all of the empowering things that feel good for you, that enliven you, that support you, that strengthen you, right? Sometimes, I don't think I've ever shared this. I just shared it on retreat, but you can I imagine my day unfolding with the chakra system. And so you wake up, but going from crown to root. Really quick, I'll say it off to you guys. You wake up and you use the awareness or the meditative component of the crown chakra, and you spend some time in silence or meditation and contemplation, you tap into the third eye chakra and you visualize your day unfolding. You command your day through your inner vision. You dream how you want it to look and feel. You then tap into the throat chakra, which is self-expression and creation and communication. So I do my hardest work in the morning that asks the most of my expressive nature. Then like around lunchtime, you can tap back in, because remember, the heart is the integrator of the chakra system. Like check in, how is my breath? How am I feeling? How connected am I? How are my relationships? Check back in with yourself. Am I loving myself? You know, what's going on? Just have a good check-in at the midpoint of the day. This is the midpoint of the chakra system. Then in the afternoon, this is so off topic, but I just feel like it's applicable. Then in the afternoon, you go into the solar plexus and you kind of get more of your busy work done that requires a little bit of heat and fire and focus, like task oriented stuff, right? Because in the day, like my creative nature side is like spent. I can't really do that kind of work. Then you get home, or you're done with your day, like you're done working. Sacral chakra is fun. It's that pleasure nature. It's embracing fluidity and flow. So do something that fills up your cup, right? If you have children, it could be playing with your kids. If you're like me, it would be doing a yoga practice or going for a walk outdoors, something that feels fun and fluid and like you're receiving good energy and filling your cup back up after, you know, being a human all day. And then lastly, root chakra, embodiment, home, earth, foundation. So returning back into your body and finding a way to re-enter this vessel. Restorative yoga, legs up the wall, you know, eating a really healthy dinner, you know, coming back home, getting out of your head, stop thinking, stop seeing, stop talking, you know, turning down the TV, turning down all of the external and really going within. A guided meditation, something, a bath, like anything to help you get back in the body. So going back to my suggested practice in the morning, I like to kind of visualize myself going through the whole chakra system. And you could also do it the opposite way too, and seeing all that unfold. And when I do it, right, it really helps pave this path for a great day. And you can really do it in a matter of moments. So a suggested practice is in the morning, waking up and just in bed, laying down or sitting up, think about your whole day and how you want it to be executed, how you want to command it and direct it. Then, if we're talking about visualization even more, if you're working on a dream or a goal, you can really visualize that happening and unfolding, seeing every step of it happening all the way until completion. Another suggested practice is checking in with your instinct before you make decisions, small or big decisions, right? If anyone struggles with drinking over the holidays, you know, this is something that I'm kind of struggling with. Like I'm on the fence of if I like to drink alcohol anymore, and how I'm just really all over the place with it. And I'm in a very gray area with it. I guess you could call me sober curious. So if you're struggling with like, should I drink? Should I not drink in this scenario? Is it really going to serve me? You know, going inside and checking in and saying, do I need to drink right now? And just kind of having these internal conversations before we make decisions regarding what's going on in our lives. And these can be very small decisions or very large decisions or very middle ground decisions, right? But just taking a moment to check in. Like, what does my inner wisdom think? What does it have to say? What does my third eye chakra have to tell me? You could literally do this. I'm in a scenario, right? Again, should I have a cocktail this evening? Probably not. I'm overcoming the flu. So going inside, third eye chakra here this evening. There's a lot of booze in the house. What decision should I make? I'm pretty run down. I really need to just heal and rest, right? Like, what do you think? What do you think about this question? And just posing the question, the inquiry. It's inquiry, right? Like yoga is a practice of inquiry, whether you're in a yoga pose, doing pranayama, meditating, or in the middle of your kitchen with all of your family members around you. Going within and saying, what do you think, third eye chakra? So we can start to dialogue with our chakra system, which is a really cool concept. All right, another suggested practice, gazing into the future and allowing yourself to say, like, how do I want my life to look and feel? we talked about this already, but actively daydreaming. So that's another suggested practice. On your yoga mat, a suggested practice would be balancing postures, right? Because we want to focus our attention and our awareness using our eyes. So any kind of one-legged balancing posture is recommended. Also, arm balances are recommended. And if you do inversions, are also really helpful because you've got to be fully present and in the moment with those kind of postures. Warrior three, tree, eagle pose, anything on one leg, right? Crow pose, side crow pose, flying pigeon, headstand, right? Like all that stuff requires so much focus and attention into one single pointed thing, right? Like I know when I'm doing a balancing posture, especially a really hard one, I stare at like a grain in the wood, and that's where my focus goes. And by doing that, it dims down the external experience and enlivens the internal experience so my body can really be in the pose, and then I hold it longer and it's a more effective posture, right? So on your yoga mat, balancing postures, arm balances, and inversions are a great way to develop your attention, okay? So that you can command your reality. That is like the biggest takeaway I want you to have from this talk is commanding your reality. Amy, you suck at balancing postures, use the back of a chair or a wall, okay? Lastly, the last suggested practice is meditation, right? Because meditation, if we know the 8 limbs of yoga, right, we go from asana, the 3rd limb, to pranayama, the 4th limb, to pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. Think about warrior 3. Your senses are withdrawing inward to focus on the task at hand, pratyahara. We then go into dharana, which is single pointed focus. So we lock eyes one thing, like I said, the grain, the pattern of grain on a wood slab, right? If you're practicing on a wood floor, would be focusing on one single thing to help you hold that posture. And then dhyana, meditation, is when you, the seer, and the point of object begin to merge. You can sustain it, right? So meditation is, again, just honing that ability to focus your awareness on a single pointed object, which is why in meditation, there's all these different techniques like using mala beads, gazing at a candle, using a mantra, going inward and maybe just focusing on the tip of your nose or focusing on a specific body part, or why guided meditations that focus on like yoga nidra that say, focus on your big toe, now focus on your little toe, now focus on your ankle. And why that's so soothing and relaxing is because it's giving the mind a single pointed focus, right? So meditation is so important here at the 3rd eye chakra level. And you can just let your visualization practice kind of be part of your meditation practice. It all can merge into one. Yeah? All right. We're moving into mantras. So 3rd eye chakra mantras. I trust my intuition. And these are going to be in the description once this chat ends. I believe in my imagination. My dreams are worthy. I believe in my vision. Again, I trust my intuition. I believe in my imagination. My dreams are worthy. I believe in my vision. So 4 mantras to help here. Okay. And now we're coming into our breath work. So if you're still with me, this is not the time to sign off. This is not the time to sign off. This is the time to integrate what we just spoke about. So wherever you are, please find a comfortable seated posture. Roots down, crown high. Feel your spine lengthen. You can rest your hands atop your thighs. And then I'm going to recommend that you bring these 2 fingers right here between your eyebrows, okay? So just resting your fingers between your brows. And if you feel safe to do so, please close down your eyes, all right? So we'll just go through some really simple breath work here. All right. So with your hands connected to your 3rd eye chakra and your eyes dimmed down and your spine lengthened tall, begin to notice your inhalation and your exhalation. So invite your breath to awaken and become present. And with your inhale breath, awaken your inner vision. And with your exhale breath, expand that vision. With your inhale breath, awaken your inner vision. With your exhale breath, expand that vision. And with your next inhale, awaken your instinct and your intuition. And with your exhale, trust your wisdom. Inhale to awaken instinct and intuition. Exhale to trust your wisdom. Inhale to awaken your imagination. Exhale to dream how you want your life to look and feel. Inhale to awaken your imagination. Exhale to dream how you want your life to look and feel. Take 7 more breaths here, tuning into this inner vision, instinct, intuition, wisdom, and imagination. 7 more breaths here, awareness between the brow. Final breath with me. You can release your hands and now repeat after me. Ong Namo Ajna. This is my right to see. Awesome work. Okay, last question before we sign off together. Remember, the demon or the wound of the third eye chakra is illusion. We're living under this veil of illusion. So we're not using our inner vision, our instinct, our intuition, our wisdom, or our imagination. We're living in this elusive experience. We're not commanding our reality. So if we weren't living under that veil of illusion, what would you do differently? Like what would you dream differently? Tell me what you would dream differently. If you weren't living under the veil of illusion, what would you be dreaming or doing differently? What do you see for yourself? Let's see here. So you guys can tell me in the comments real quick. What do you see for yourself if you weren't living under a veil of illusion? What would be the dreams you'd be pursuing, right? What's your dream life? That's a big question. And coming into a new year, in a new decade, that's a question we should absolutely be considering. Okay. It's okay. You don't have to know either. It's a really big question, right? It's a question we can just start to allow ourselves to ask, right? Like that's where it begins. We ask the question. Chelsea says, I would leave my job and work towards becoming a healer. I wouldn't let society's norms control me anymore. I only do yoga for my job. Christy, that I think all of the things I do in a day have value, not just the ones society deems productive. Yeah. Susanna, studying herbal medicine. Megan, after I graduate next year, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I want to work on dreaming things I want to do. Absolutely. That's a great time. Okay. Yeah. All right. So there's 50 of us on here. I've seen about 10 comments about what people would dream differently for their life if they weren't allowing illusion to rule them, right? Like if we took that veil off, what would be underneath it? So I would love to see more of you comment, because putting it in the comments is the first step, even if the comment is, I don't know, right? Let's see. Joe, you're definitely going to be opening yourself up to this entire idea. Great, great. Carrie, helping others heal and share the tools to allow myself and others to not live in the past. Yes. Let's see. Miss Dancing Yoga Queen, becoming an Ayurvedic teacher. Yes. Great. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, this was a long one because it's always a long one. But next week is our final chakra chat. So next Sunday at 3 p.m. is our final chat together. We'll be talking about the crown chakra. We'll be sealing the entire system. And I'll also be sharing with you what's coming next in January regarding these teachings and the chakra system. So please make sure you meet me back here. Happy holidays. If you're celebrating Hanukkah tonight, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everyone else who celebrates something different. And we'll be back before the new year, and then we can celebrate and say happy new year to each other. Thanks so much for time. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here. It really means so much to me and this community.